you're right. Art is that bridge. Art is that beautiful conduit of expression, and it helps you to heal. And also sometimes it's great. It's good fun.
Hello, print friends, and welcome. I'm your host, Miranda Metcalf. Each week, I chat with artists who use print-based media to do something beyond the expected. This is a bilingual podcast, so if you subscribe to us, you'll be getting weekly episodes in English with me, as well as in Spanish with Ronaldo Gil Zambrano. Together, we speak to printmakers around the globe about their practice and passions in the world of printmaking. Hello Print Friend is brought to you by Speedwell Art Products, currently offering possibly the best thing to happen to relief printmaking, their Woodzilla presses. Beautifully made in the Netherlands, these uniquely engineered presses perfectly combine superior craftsmanship and performance at a price that makes them accessible whether you're a seasoned printmaking pro or new to the craft. Available across 5 sizes, each Woodzilla press is precisely manufactured from heavy-duty steel and designed to apply uniform pressure without undue work or stress on the artists, and still guaranteeing that beautifully printed result at the end of every reveal. Check out these beauties for the link in the show notes. My guest this week is Brett Nannup, a Noongar printmaker living and working in Perth in Western Australia. We'll talk about how when his mother, Laurel, took a printmaking class a bit later on in her life, got them both started on a deep love for the medium. We also talk about storytelling through printmaking, being able to reach the things that are hard to talk about through making art, and how his mom's second ever linocut was turned into a 5-meter tall cast aluminum sculpture in Perth's Elizabeth Quay waterfront precinct. So, without further ado, sit back, relax, and prepare to hear some stories with Brett Nannup. Hi, Brett. How's it going?
Hi, good. Thanks, Miranda. How are you?
I'm really good. I'm good. It really is so nice to hear your voice in real time because I've watched videos of you and your mom talking, and I know that we've been chatting for, I think, just years now, just out there on the internet. And so it's really a pleasure that we're going to actually get to connect.
Yeah, thanks. And thanks for having me on the podcast. It's a thrill because I've listen to you guys talk with many other artists around, and it's exciting to be part of it.
Oh,
it's really, really amazing.
I'm excited to have you. Yeah, this is going to be great. So before we dive into all the questions I have, could you introduce yourself and tell people who you are, where you are, what you do? Yeah. Well, my name's Brett Nannup. I live in Perth, Western Australia. In the southwest of WA. What I do, I'm a printmaker. I love the creative form of print. Also work in a museum, so the arts are I'm basically delved deep in the arts. Over the years I've learnt how to become a printmaker through my mum, who went to university as a mature age student and learnt how to do printmaking. And because I loved what she was doing and the story she was telling me or sharing with me, I just fell in love with the process and the creativity and the wonderful stories that she had to tell. And I just love the tactile kind of notion of making a block and making almost two art pieces, with the block itself and then the print. But yeah, that's I've learnt printmaking. Back I've only been doing printmaking since 2000, really. My mum would just give me bits and pieces of what she had, and she would sneak in if she was doing etching, I would basically, she would sneak in an etching into the acid bath at university and do me a couple of prints, and, so
and that was really that was
2 for the price of 1. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's wonderful, So I'm not formally trained as a printmaker, but I learned from I think such a wonderful printmaker in my mother. So it's kind of like you learn different aspects from your parents, and I learnt the amazing techniques of printmaking from my mum, which I think is one of the most special things.
Absolutely, yeah. And then, so where did you grow up, and what role did art play in that part of your life?
I grew up in Perth here, so I've been in Perth all my life, really. We grew up around the river, so we weren't really a rich family or well-off family. We had to utilise bush foods and stuff like that. So I'm Aboriginal, I'm Indigenous Australian, and so my mum was one of the stolen generation people from Australia. So stolen generation are basically a young, I suppose, Aboriginal children who were removed from their families as part of some weird government legislation that happened a while ago in Australia. And my mum was part of that. So we did not grow up, with a lot of money. So we had to utilise a lot of bush foods. And so what I'm saying is, like, when I grew up, we used the river a lot, and so that was part of my life. But another aspect of it with my mum is that she when she went to she was placed in a mission. So I don't know how you describe it. I think in America they used to have missions as well. Mm-hmm. But my mum learnt all these different techniques in, say, making dresses, making quilts, crochet. So because we didn't have much, she basically had developed, making rugs for us. So she used to make these, elaborate and beautiful quilts out of scrap material, and so it used to be these beautiful patchwork quilts that she used to make. And so, that's kind of like, where I grew up. And but I never really in that aspect. I was, like a young kid, so basically I was told to get outside and play, and so I like drawing and stuff, but it was more or less, a ball was always attached to my hand, really. I think I always loved that idea of, because my mum was always very crafty, that I went, oh my God, she's amazing. She's an amazing lady and stuff like that. So
yeah, and so you had this, what I would imagine to be a somewhat unusual experience, in that, you're growing up with your mom and you guys are just living your life. And of course she has these talents, and then she goes to school, as you mentioned, as a mature student. And then kind of, later in life becomes quite a famous, accomplished artist. And then that must have changed, and obviously, as you're saying, you learned your printmaking from her. So that must have really changed the two of you life, really, kind of maybe at a kind of unexpected time. What was that like?
Oh, I think well, my mum was very humble, and she used to get a bit embarrassed by all the attention, and I think it was wonderful. It was wonderful as well, because she showed people a different outlook, and with storytelling and with art. I mean, with me, I was just like, oh my God, who is this lady? She's she's amazing, and it's kind of a really, really, really amazing time for us, and through her, like, I've won a couple of awards with printmaking when I back in the day, which was really good, and so did my mum. She won best student for her post grad, and it's just like, wow, is this really happening to us, or and is this really happening to my mum? Because she's I always knew she was extremely talented, but when like other people see it as through my eyes how amazing she is, it just go, wow, other people can see the same as what I do. But she's always been like an amazing lady. And like I've got a daughter as well, and with myself and Lily, and Mum would always share, like, you know, her materials with Lily, and like good pencils and whatever, not other dangerous stuff, but pencils and whatever. So so she can, you know, you learn to use good materials, but my mum was always generous like that. You know, she would always help people and show people, and so it is kind of why it's amazing that she's got all this recognition. It's, you know, I suppose good karma comes back to her because she's been so generous throughout her life in sharing skills and I don't know, just accepting people and loving people, you know.
Yeah. And then am I remembering correctly that something like her first or second linocut, the first contact was what it was called, and, you know, I mean, it eventually gets translated into this, you know, 5.5 meter sculpture, and, you know, I mean, it really was that, you know, her talent, it seems like, was really recognized, and it's just amazing to think that, you know, she just stayed herself and stayed humble, and, you know, I mean, she sounds like such an incredible person, I think, is what I'm getting at. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She would always, like, you know, if she met you for the first time, probably give you a hug, and, you know, and then you'd feel like part of the family, because, you know, or everyone would, you know, because she's that kind of person that brings love into the room, and does not really hold grudges, you know, like with what happened to her in the past. So, but yeah, with that lino, with that first contact lino, she was. Well, the story is that she was one of 10 Aboriginal artists from around Australia to participate in the 400-year commemoration of the Dutch coming to Australia. That was in 2006. So Mum got chosen. Not sure how, but probably because she's an amazing printmaker. Yeah. But she, she went. We went over to the Australian Print Workshop in Melbourne, and to do a print portfolio for that commemoration. And before that, she kind of thought that she had to do, like, herself a print portfolio. So she had all these 8 designs, 8 drawings and stuff, because Mum would always draw her prints out first on paper, and then she went, oh, okay, cool, and she went over there and basically finished her. She did a sugar lift etching on copper, and she did that in the first, I don't know, I suppose half a day, and she had a week there. So basically they had to give her something else to do, and they gave her, oh, here, Laurel, here's a lino, and she had this other design, so she finished that as well. And out of the second line, out of the lino block she did, that was the image that was translated or transformed into this 5.5 meter sculpture. And it's because we would also, Mum and I would participate in a few workshops for public art around Perth, and excuse me. And I think one of the curators, he had a look through the print portfolio and goes, oh my God, that could easily be translated into a sculpture. And he spoke to people around Perth who were doing some new developments, and yeah, they loved it. They gave Mum a private commission and said, this has got to be it. This has got to be it. And there you have it, like 5.5 meter sculpture, and I actually think it's probably one of the best public art sculptures in Perth, for sure.
Yeah, you know, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
I've never seen it in person, as I unfortunately never made it to Western Australia. You know, half my time in Australia was spent with, you know, as you're talking about, like, border restrictions between the states. But the photos of it, it's just wonderful, and that's so exciting. Yep. Yeah.
Pretty good.
And so, can you tell us a little bit of that story about how, you know, this printmaking that Laurel was studying kind of came home and just sort of seemed to, like, infect the household, you know, that, like, you started to, as you were saying, like, you know, slipping her etching plates to take into the studio. What was that process like? Was it just something that she was excited to share, or something that you were interested in? And how did that evolve?
Yeah, I think when she started doing her printmaking as a major, she'd often bring back, like, either etching plates or you know, she would use we used MDF boards, which to carve out or to make relief prints. But so you'd also do things, and I would be very inquisitive and say, well, what's this one? And she would go, oh, well, this one's about, my dad chopping wood. And I was going, oh, okay. So I would learn more about her life through what she was doing at university. And I just became more intrigued, and I kept on asking, how does this work? And, how she goes, oh, she used to show me a lot. And I always went, oh, that is so cool, So I just became, I fell in love with the process, because I don't know, I just felt it's like magic. It's like magic, you do one thing and it transforms. And I just love the idea of the procedural idea of printmaking, and also hearing stories through what my mum had to say. And it was a really, really good, really amazing process. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've heard you speak before about how, your mom would really never be keen to talk a lot about stories of her past. And as you say, she's the stolen generation. But you would actually learn about it kind of through the art that she was making.
Yeah, so like she didn't really tell me a lot about, how she was taken away. And it was like that. And she'd be very, she'd go, oh, everything's okay. But then I realized, through her work, all what she was kind of holding up inside of her. And I think the printmaking, and also talking with other Aboriginal people at the university allowed her to heal through what she was doing, and also gave me a sense of understanding of, all the heartache and pain she must have been holding up inside, because through her work, they're really beautiful pieces, but they're also hard stories. And, she doesn't place guilt on anyone through her work. I think it's just, this is who she is, and the wonderful person that, she is as a person, but an amazing artist as well. But it was really hard, because like a couple of times, because I studied social sciences at the same time as what she did printmaking, and she would, like I would interview her for some of my work, and sometimes she would cry, because it was that traumatic to bring back. But I think that the printmaking allowed her to control what she had to. What she released, in a safe way, and actually she can get this beautiful work out, but also have a bit of healing within her own soul. So, but yeah, it's hard. It's hard kind of having your parent go through that stuff, because as a kid, all I knew was I was my mum, and we didn't have a lot of money, blah blah blah, but that's how it was, and she was a amazing crochet lady. You learned how to crochet, and so it was really, I understood my parent more, it kind of brought me closer to her as a person, because it's my mum, and she's a good person, and amazing artist, and I didn't really want her to feel more hurt, so we would also but it also made myself as saying get close to my mum. But when she started to do her artwork out of uni, that's where our partnership, collaboration, I think really also developed stronger, because I knew how hard it was for her as an individual to do printmaking by herself, but also I wanted to hear those stories from her. So it was really kind of a strong bond that we developed through her work, and I loved it. I loved the just working with her, and the sad thing now, Miranda, is that my old mum is she's currently in a nursing home now, because she's developed Alzheimer's, so she hasn't done any work since. Strangely, she hasn't done any work since 2016. Mm-hmm. But people are still picking up her work to exhibit in shows, which is quite amazing.
Because it was kind of, really, really. Alzheimer's is never. There's never a good time for it, but it really seemed like she got the diagnosis, right when her artistic career was really taking off. Yeah. Yeah. But I feel like we're so lucky to have the work that she did make and and it just makes it all the more precious, I think, to know that she didn't necessarily have, as many years as she should have of creative production.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's, we got diagnosed back in 2012, and it didn't really develop strongly until, as bad until 2016. And so that really was a time when she, wasn't able to do as much. So, got the first contact sculpture out of that, done. And that was great. And, she did a couple more prints with Cicada Press in Sydney. And that was really good, it was good times. It was really good times, towards the end of her printmaking career. It's sad. It's sad because she was also going. She's creating these huge linos with all these big stories in them, and I was going, oh my God, if Alzheimer's wasn't there, she would have been creating these big wall, like almost the size of a wall, kind of linos, and it was. I was excited. I was excited to see these big works because then she kind of inspired me, going, "Oh, okay. Well, if my mum's going big with her work, maybe I could try something." And it wasn't to be with her, but yeah.
Yeah.
But that's, yeah.
Yeah. So. Well, like I said, I know that, the work that we do have from her is just so amazing. And I know that it's so beloved by so many people. So that's something, and that's huge. Yeah.
Oh, no, I was lucky to, like, this year here, to be in an exhibition with her at as part of the Perth Festival. So, that's such a beautiful thing to have my mum and myself as printmakers in a show in Perth here. So it's and she would have been also amazingly thrilled by knowing that, because it's our collaboration over the years, and it's a beautiful kind of, like, I suppose I'm starting to develop my work again myself, and after a bit of a hiatus in also looking after my mum's work and my mum's affairs and stuff like that with her printmaking, and it's really refreshing for myself to get a carving tool back in my hand and actually start creating again. So
yeah, I would love it if you could speak to your work too. I know we've been talking about your mom, and I know that you're always happy to do that, but you've really are also quite an accomplished printmaker in your own right, and are exploring things kind of in her tradition. But how would you describe your own practice?
Oh, okay. Yeah, my I've growing up with my mum. Basically, she was a single parent, and so my art is more or less looks at self-identity, also the idea of what is a man, how to be a man. Because I did a couple of works back in the day, and one work was called Frozen Tears, and it's just like a series of ice cube blocks with a tear inside of it, and it looked at the idea that men shouldn't cry, and which you get taught, you get, it's all in the the movies and maybe the television series, the macho men. But realistically, men do cry, and we should cry, and so I did that work because you're growing up. My mum wasn't I suppose she tried to fit both roles in or just a parent role really, and and it's kind of me exploring my own maleness. Did that work, and that was really rewarding. And on the other flip side, I do things about self-identity, my identity as I suppose an Aboriginal person, living in both a Western country, but also having my own Aboriginal culture. So walking almost like 1 foot, Western, 1 foot Aboriginal, so figuring out my place within society, and that's what I continue kind of to look at. I mean, my latest work, which I've done recently, is looking at country, my own country, and looking and exploring that in the sense that just because there's buildings, you see buildings, and doesn't mean that it's still not traditional lands that we occupy and we sit on and we sleep, we fall asleep on, and that's what I kind of wanted to look at in an abstract kind of way. But I'm also doing, I think, got this other work which currently a block which I'm currently carving out, and that's I called it not my problem. I called it not my problem, only because it's got a person with chains like a handcuffs, and we have a huge incarceration rate of young Aboriginal people in Australia, and it could be easily fixed, but I think a lot of people use the idea that it's not my problem, so to speak, but it is our problem as people within society to actually make sure that people are getting good education and stuff like that. So I'm exploring that side of society's kind of what I see in society, and but still doing I don't know, multiple things at multiple times, Miranda. So yeah, but having fun in the process.
Yeah, absolutely. I always find it really interesting, the exploration of masculinity through art, because I think in some ways, masculinity can be kind of more hidden because it can be sort of the default state that people assume humans are in, right? A human is a man. And then, you see really often elaborate studies on femininity and feminism and, that side of the human identity, and you really don't see it as much for masculinity. But I think it is so important because people who identify as men, finding their space in the world and what that looks like is tremendously important. Yeah. I'm just like, for me, it's also, it's probably like most people who identify as different genders. It's really sometimes hard to come out and talk about your own gender or situation, because it you open the doors for people going, oh right, or criticism or feedback in some ways, and that's hard. That's hard to accept sometimes. But I was so nervous when I first did my series of works, and but this is me. That's me. So but but it was good. It was good. Like knowing that knowing that people could see that I'm exploring these certain kind of topics, and I loved it. I love it now. Back then I was so nervous, but it's wonderful. It's wonderful to see that I suppose other people do have similar not concerns, but similar kind of queries in life. About men crying and the emptiness of sorrow, which I did in other work, and things like that. So, for sure, and being able to have the opportunity to share those thoughts through visual communication, through art, through the act of creating, I think that can often be a bridge between people. And so, someone who might have, as you say, like similar queries, similar questions about what it is, as you say, like what it is to be a man, while they may not feel comfortable, coming up to you on the street and saying, "Hey, Brett, I've been thinking a lot about my manhood recently." Like in the context of an exhibition, that can be the catalyst, I think, for a lot of important dialogue around these like very personal issues like gender. Gender is so intimate and so intimately linked to our sense of self that it's so vulnerable, as you said, to talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to. That would be blessing if someone would do that. We come up and have a chat, because I think as humans, as people, we need to talk more about ourselves and help each other through walking the same path and exploring. Also just asking, "Are you okay?" And and I don't know, just art is that. You're right. Art is that bridge. Art is that beautiful conduit of expression, and it helps you to heal, and also sometimes it's great. It's good fun to get your hands dirty, but it's amazing. It's amazing kind of avenue to play, to walk down, if someone did come up to me and ask me a lot of questions, I'll gladly sit down and have a coffee and help them through, or do a collaboration or something. It'd be great.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. Well, and it sounds like, Laurel also had that way to get into the emotional side of things through printmaking. As you say, getting to those more emotional stories and I wonder if that's all part of it, is this, like the mother-son lineage of like, okay, like this is a place where you can be vulnerable. Like you must have been seeing that and moving towards it as well. Having this artistic mentor and mom in the house at the same time. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was crazy. And in thinking about it now, Miranda, I think she must have sowed a seed in my head going, "Now you need to explore this yourself. Here you go, Bretty, do this." And so, look at your self-identity, look at your own emotions. Here you go. I'll give you the tools to create your work, and you can just, slowly work through some of the issues that you might have in the future. So I think she did that. But but yeah, it's hard. Like it was hard doing. Not hard. It was amazing looking back, on what having a mum, having a mentor. I often, because I've got her works at my house here, and it's just looking through her work and just astonished by what she created, and she created also this this amazing travelling art exhibition that went around Australia once, but did a tour around Western Australia, and so we worked on it together and trying to curate the show. And she also produced a book called A Story to Tell, that was part of her postgrad work, but also we used it as like a catalogue, so to speak, with the exhibition. But she was, having someone like her in the house, and it was always conversations about growing up and talking, and just with her taking myself and my two older brothers down back to her home country in a country town called Pinjarra, which is 80 kilometres south of Perth. So she would always take us down there as young kids, and we'd go, okay, we're going to see relatives, blah, blah, blah. But it wasn't until growing up and having all these stories with, that she was telling through her book and through her art, and I went, oh, okay, it's all tied in really, really wonderfully.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand her more. I mean, it's really beautiful that your mum becomes not only your partner, in art, but also your friend. And I miss my friend. I miss doing art with her. And
yeah.
very special lady, you know, like infectious in her love that she provides others, you know. And, so mentor and mother and friend, you know, like, you know, that's I'm a very lucky man to have this person, you know, in my life and still contributing in the arts. And even though she doesn't really, she hasn't produced any art herself, but still people are pulling out her art from their collections and utilising that within the exhibition, because her work is still tells amazing stories. And it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, just dementia is just. I was actually talking with a cashier in line at a supermarket about this the other day, because it just kind of came up about how there's nothing good you can say about it. You know, like it's not like one of those things in life where you can say, yes, it's really, really bad in this way, but we X, Y, and Z, right? Like there's so many things in life that you can pull something from it that at least is like, at least I learned a lesson, you know what I mean? And it's just like something like dementia, like it's really one of the few things in life that like you can't put a silver lining on it, you know, it's just loss. And so I'm really sorry to hear that she's gone through that, but I can tell that you know you clearly have so much love and admiration for her. We tried to, you know, as soon as she got diagnosed, we just tried to understand, you know, number one, the disease and what role it'll play in her life, and try to work with, you know, health and medical staff, and try to continue her creative side, because that was really important for her storytelling, and just try to work, you know, like, I mean, also, this is going to sound a bit crazy, but during that time, we kind of had no time to really get upset about it a lot, because Mum was just so busy with her work, with her artwork. Yeah, so making the most of it. Hey.
Yeah. We had to. Oh, you know, of course, but she was so busy still doing plans for Elizabeth, the sculpture, First Contact, creating amazing works with Cicada Press. Still 100%. This is one of her busiest times in her career, so we were trying to get a lot of that. Work with a lot of that, and also listen to medical staff and plan for the future, and then it got a bit too much, and we kind of let it, you know, rest for a bit, you know, because it you know, can't push it really all that much. So it kind of with her disease, which is we went to a point where we were happy with saying, okay, maybe it's time to, you know, not do any more, and that's okay. Yeah, that's okay. You know,
well,
but there's no silver lining. No.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is, you know, a gift that you were able to get the diagnosis as early as you did, and get to you know, make a really conscious decision with what she wanted to do. With the productive years she had. Yeah. And then you don't have the regrets, you know, of like, oh, if I'd known, I would have gone for that 5.5 meter sculpture, you know, like she did it. Yeah. No, we just wanted, because her career was, I mean, her art was just amazing. And I mean, as her art partner, as well as her son, like, I just wanted her to get the most out of what she was doing. And I believed in her work, you know, 100%. And it was, you know, she trusted me fully, and I trust her fully. And it was that kind of that bond that we had, and still have, that was that ability to go, okay, well, I can stop doing my stuff for a bit. We'll work on your stuff and push through it, and let's kick some butt, you know, and make it really, really amazing. And I think, you know, those last few years that she was doing art, it was probably some of the best, you know, works that she created. So yeah. Well, and both you and Laurel, you know, you really are using print for storytelling, and you know, and telling your own stories. And I'm wondering, you know, why do you think printmaking is such a powerful medium for storytelling? Because, you could have been painters or ceramicists, but you were both really drawn to printmaking. And what do you think that connection is?
I'm not really sure. I mean, well, actually, maybe it's because my mum was always doing practical and tactile things like crochet and quilt making, and printmaking was another way in which she can also make an object like a block or a plate, and then transform that into. So it's kind of, I love that process of creating a block and a print. I don't know. It's just that, to me, it's sometimes a bit meditative. I deep dive into my work, and maybe it's that. I mean, I've tried a couple of times doing paintings, and I think, oh God, I don't even know how you do this, because I can't.
Right.
For me, it's just so weird. Like with printmaking, we do the foreground and then work to the background. With what I do anyway, and with painting, you do background and do the foreground last. And I end up, when I was trying to do painting, to do the foreground first and trying to fit everything in the background again. Yeah. This does not work.
Yeah.
This does not work. So I'm thinking, so I don't know, maybe my brain is switched to being a printmaker, and I love it. I love it. I love the idea and of always thinking of the final result. So I have this weird thing of, I know what it's going to look like, and it's going to look great. It's going to look, this and that, and having to keep on thinking about it. And there's a lot of deep thoughts.
Yeah, I love that. Like it gives you, the meditative time of carving, where it is a creative process, but it doesn't use the same part of your brain as the design and the outline and the composition. And so, it is that kind of quiet, reflective time for you to really spend time with your image before it comes into the world. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. My partner, she, when I'm doing my carving, sometimes sees me standing on a chair looking down at my block, and I just see her on this corner of my eye shaking her head going, oh my God. So I do, and I don't know, for me, I just like to capture different angles in what I'm doing. So I'm either at the end of the room looking at it, and so I think she sometimes love it a bit, but I think sometimes she thinks that I'm a bit weird. But
you're artistic, Brett. You're artistic. Yeah.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. It's a very process-based medium, so you gotta just go where the process takes you, and sometimes it's up on a chair. Yeah.
That's right. For sure.
Definitely.
For sure.
And so you mentioned too that you have a daughter, and that your mom would share some of the tools with that. Is she at all interested in printmaking? Do you think that this might be, go on another generation?
I'm hoping so. I mean, she did when she was younger. My mum would Lily, draw her designs on some lino block, and Mum would cover them out for her. And she did some really good ones, but she's 18 now. She doesn't really want to do. She's an amazing drawer. She's an amazing drawer. But she's 18, so
she's
not at the moment.
18-year-old stuff, yeah.
18-year-old stuff for sure. So I'm hoping in the future, because she does some pretty cool crafty stuff and artistic, And I just wish that when I was her age that I could draw as well, and have. She's got an amazing art brain, and I'm hoping. So
I think a lot of times people come back. I think when you're a teenager, it's just like temporary insanity for a few years. I mean, at least it was for me. Yeah. And so I think a lot of times people, they do kind of need to go and just have a teenager life for a while, and then they do return, to things that they loved when they were younger, and family traditions and all of that. So, yeah, we'll see. Maybe you'll have a 3-person show sometime in the future.
Oh, that would be wonderful. That would be so wonderful. I think my mum would be super proud, and so would I. And that would be super. Really great.
I wanted to make sure I got a chance to ask you as well about Perth and just maybe in general the Western Australian art scene. Because, anytime people are making art away from like the hubs, it's, I think sometimes people need to hear that you can do that and you can thrive doing that. It's the same here if people aren't in like New York or LA, right? You're not in Melbourne or Sydney. Yep. And maybe just sort of speak to, what it's like to be a working artist in Australia, outside of the big cities and,
yep.
The experience of that and pluses and minuses and just what that's like.
Yeah. I think over the years, Perth was, personally, Perth was a little bit forgotten. It was more, the art scene or the art kind of was more driven towards Melbourne and Sydney in Australia, which is the east coast of Australia. But over the years, with a festival, a big international festival called like the Perth Festival, it brings a lot of international and also artists from over east to Perth. I suppose we don't have the big spaces and places, galleries and stuff as much as what Sydney and Melbourne have to offer, but Perth is getting there in a sense. We've got a new $400 million museum.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, I know. A lot of money, and we've got like a art gallery as well, which got revamped, and so it, while the spaces is not as big as the Art Gallery of New South Wales, but I think we're getting there. We just just need to invest as an art state to have more art, community art, also state art institutions, but. It's not too bad, like you've seen here is okay. We do have a pluses sense of, we do have international artists and also artists that are taken care of, state, artists. But I think there needs to be a lot more investment into the arts in WA. Because I think a lot of people from Western Australia here go over east to Melbourne and Sydney to explore more art practices and stuff like that. We just need more investment.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, all like, slightly off the grid, and I speak as someone who's in Santa Fe, right? Like that is not, that's not New York or LA or Chicago.
Yeah.
The reach of the internet has really done wonders, I think, to be able to get whatever you're making out into the world.
For sure.
Without actually having to travel there and, having curators be able to see your work. And I also have found working in smaller art scenes, there is a great community and there is that sense of like, we're all in it together because you've got that little bit of an underdog feeling to you that I'm, sure you do not have in Sydney or New York.
Oh, yeah, we find it. We actually find, like, with my mum and I don't think there's any other Aboriginal people in Western Australia doing printmaking or calling themselves printmakers. I think we're that underdog here. We're that rare find because we don't really call. I mean, people call us artists or whatever, and but people, if we said, "Oh, what are you? What are you?" and we'd say, "Oh, we're printmakers." We would, and that's what we call ourselves. But there isn't a big printmaking scene here. I mean, there's a few places around. There's a couple, but it's not like like Cicada Press or over east. I mean, there's a lot more printmakers and over there, and that's where we used to go, my mum and I, for doing our printmaking with Michael and Michael Kempson, and then it was just but yeah, we'd come back and there's really the facilities here for printmaking studios. We didn't have that at the time. So, and that's...
Yeah, because it's that is the sticky wicket, right, is like the infrastructure, particularly as it relates to printmaking, is that, you can have all the community you want, but if no one has an aquatint box, what are you going to do, you know? Yeah. Well, that's exciting about the new museum and that things are growing. And I really hope to get a chance to visit Perth someday, because I really felt like I missed a whole part of the Australian experience, just being stuck in the ACT for the last year. Yeah. Oh,
that's all right. You're most welcome anytime. And we'll definitely show you around and... take you to some really cool places to explore. So
we would love that. Before we sign off,
yes,
Brett, what are you looking forward to? What's like on the horizon for you that maybe you're looking forward to sharing, or that people can, follow you and see? Anything exciting?
I think in the future, I want to. Well, I also have on a different hat, Miranda. I also try to make traditional Aboriginal tools, that were made, back in the day. So I do that, and I want to explore. That within my work. So doing basically making an object, then carving out the block, and then printing. So I want to try to explore, I suppose, tool making in that way. And I love that tactile experience, and also want to try going a bit bigger than what I am with linos, and still talk about country, still talk about my identity and stuff like that through art. And I'm getting back into my work more, and it's exciting. It's exciting to explore that. All those different kind of processes and queries again. So, I'm excited. I'm very excited. I think it's going to be really cool.
I know. I can hear it in your voice that, like, I think that as the world's opening up and, things are feeling more hopeful, I can also hear that, like, I can hear the excitement of getting reconnected. As you said, getting a carving tool in your hand again. So, I know I'm certainly excited to see what you'll be making.
Thank you.
And where can people find you and follow you and learn more about you?
Well, I'm just on Instagram, so it's Brett Nan on Instagram. I don't have a website. I haven't gone to that process yet, getting a website, but just on Instagram. So I've got a few works on there in between all these silly cooking videos and stuff that I do. Because I like to have a bit of fun, Miranda. So I have a bit of a kind of a funny side of my life, and but there'll be more printmaking on there, and and I've also so that's me, just on Instagram. That's the only kind of social platform I'm on at the moment. So it off so simple.
Well, I can attest to the rewards of following you, for both art content and cooking videos. They're great.
Very good. I love it. Good.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Brett, for joining me this morning and getting to chat. I feel like it was kind of a long time coming, and it's just really wonderful to connect. So I hope that we get a chance to collaborate more. Yeah, absolutely.
No problems.
Well,
thanks for having me.
Yeah, have a beautiful day, and we will be in touch.
Thanks, Miranda.
Okay, thanks, Brett.
Goodbye.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
If you like this episode, we have a Patreon where you can help us keep the lights on and get bonuses, like Shop Talk Shorts with our editor, Timothy Pauschak, who digs deep on materials, processes, and techniques with our guests. Also, if you've listened thus far, you might be that special kind of print friend who would leave a review for us on Apple Podcasts. It would mean the world to us if you did, and it really does help support the show. And that's our show for this week. My guest next week is Mizhen Shin. You may know her from her jaw-dropping printmaking woodcut installations that she's done with floor-to-ceiling interconnected prints. We'll talk about her childhood growing up in South Korea with a painter mother, how her work speaks to the interconnected nature of our society, and the beauty and peril of that truth. Her co-founding a printmaking workshop and gallery in Buffalo, and her Stop Asian Hate project. You won't want to miss it. This episode, like all episodes, was written and produced by me, Miranda Metcalf, with editing by Timothy Pauschak and music by Joshua Weber. I'll see you next week.